Welcome to the Live Your Purpose podcast, featuring compelling interviews with big-hearted people in the Oklahoma City metro area who are leading, creating, and innovating on purpose. Get inspired by conversations with passionate difference makers from our local community. I'm your host, Charles Gossett, life purpose coach and founder of Full Integration Coaching. On today's episode, we sit down with Byron Jackson, a nonprofit leader and community builder with an innovative vision for connecting our Oklahoma City area neighborhoods. And now, the Live Your Purpose podcast. Welcome to this edition of the Live Your Purpose podcast. I'm here today with Byron Jackson, who is the Executive Director of Possibilities, Inc., an organization which has a mission to strengthen the ability of people to work together for community change. Byron came to Possibilities with a background in social work, earning his degree at the University of Oklahoma. He has an impressive track record of presenting community training on cultural diversity, team building, and many other topics. His skill in working with diverse groups, along with his humor, unpredictable behavior, his odd assortment of clothing, and extensive community contacts provides the Possibilities team with many important assets. Byron, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Charles. It's been interesting so far.
Yeah, we've had a lot of technical challenges to overcome, and so far so good.
That's true, but we've overcome.
That's right, we're overcomers. That's what we do.
Our undercomers.
And we are on location at Possibilities, Inc. in your office today, so it's really a pleasure to be with you here.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure for me to be here, too.
Good.
I'm here a lot less than I would like to be sometimes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Well, we can go into that.
You don't have to.
We don't have to. Okay. Well, we always start off with a kickoff question, and you just let me randomly choose. So I went with one that's new.
Okay.
For our listeners out there, and here it is. So you ready?
Yes.
Okay. When did you know that you wanted to be doing what you're doing today?
And there's the kick, and it is a fair catch. Here it comes.
Fair catch? That's like a timeout, isn't it? Hold on.
I actually, probably this morning, I decided what I was doing. I think really I have always been struggling between being very successful, materialistic in the world, and versus having meaning. And I just think probably over the last 10 years, I've switched more to finding meaning. And so what I want to be doing is to be of service, however that may be. And so I hope to be, let me back up. I really believe in no divisions. I read it actually in a book, that it's all the same work. So whether I'm at home or whether I'm with friends or just out in the community at the store, I'm always an instrument of the universe. And so, what I would like to be is of service, wherever that situation may be. So if I'm at home, take the trash out, go to the store. If I'm at work, to really sit down and listen to somebody talking to me and what they're telling me. If I'm at the grocery store checking out, to make sure that I connect with whoever that is and say, thank you, Charles, how's your day? And so that is what I'm meant to do, and I hope to do that till I quit breathing. And so I just think in probably the last 10 years, that has crystallized for me. Me being director of an organization is actually kind of God's humor. And just because I've always wanted to be like in charge of something, and then I reached this point in my life where I go, I'm pretty happy just kind of being a slug on life and hanging through here, and I was totally satisfied with that. And suddenly I'm an executive director in charge of something. As soon as I really didn't give a crap if I was or if I ever had this or not. So
Right. So, some might say that that's letting go. Like when we let
yes,
go,
yes, yeah,
and then there it is.
yeah,
When it was the last thing that you had ambition for or drive
yeah,
to do, it just landed in your lap.
yes.
With lots of work on your part, lots of saying yes to the universe's call for you, I'm sure too,
Well,
because
yeah,
yeah,
to being of service. See, the
right.
being, how can I be helpful to others besides myself? And so since actually taking over, it's been interesting because it has lit a fire inside of me to really be creative and take chances. And I always kind of joke with the staff and say, we're swinging for the rafters, which, an old baseball term, we're swinging to hit a home run. And I mean, we're not going to do safe things. And so I figure if I'm going to be a director of someplace at age 67, I'm going to go after some of the things that I feel like are important to me. And so doing that has added this excitement to work where, I mean, I probably have cried more in the last 6 months than ever in my life. But I've laughed more. I mean, I just have sunk and just been worried shitless. And then there's been times when I just have been free and, like I'm following the universe. And so every emotion I have is just like right on the cusp. And then not drinking and drugging, I'm feeling all these emotions just happening. And it's just been great. I mean, I feel so alive because it's like real. I mean, and I just really enjoy. I mean, I just feel so alive doing this. Whether it's successful or not, I have no idea. But for this moment, I mean, I'm really enjoying it a lot.
Yeah, that's powerful. All of what you said there. And there are a couple of different directions I picked up on. First of all, your passion that you have, that you're all out, swinging for the rafters. I grew up playing baseball.
Oh, so you know.
I know. I'm watching that ball. I'm watching Roy Hobbs hit it up into the lights, And so I can relate to that metaphor and that idea that you're talking about. So I'm picking up on your passion, which I always have since the moment we sat across from one another and had a cup of coffee and talked for an hour or whatever that was, you know, and your passion, but also your story of recovery that you mentioned, not drinking, not drugging, which is something in my own life, of course, that I have. And relating to your experience, connecting with what you're talking about. Now that I don't drink, now that I don't drug, now that I try not to escape from life, from reality, I'm hungry for it. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
there's a sense of
yeah,
urgency. It's like now's the time to bring my full self here. When I couldn't do that before, it was really holding me back from being who I can be now. And the fact that you're in this leadership position with possibilities, you're able to give, it sounds like to me, everything that you have, all of your life experience, all of your desires, all of your passion, and your sense of service. It sounds like it's all coming into play right now. It's go time.
it is go time. It is, which is good because I thought I would die on the bench there for a while.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, so we could go. I would love to hear, and anything you want to share with our listeners about your personal journey is welcome at any point in this conversation. And for those that don't know the work of Possibilities Inc., I wanted to give you a platform for that, an opportunity to share about some programs. So, which direction would you like to head towards next?
Let's do possibilities because once I start going personal, I go into this place where I have no idea if I'll ever come out. So,
Okay.
so the mission of possibilities is to strengthen the ability of people to work together. And what that means is we help the world to become a safer place by helping people build the foundations of trust, dignity, and service. And so one way that you can make things safe is to get a gun and build you a gated community. We think there's another way also, is to build bridges with other people. And so the way you build bridges is you develop trust with people, and so you treat people like they have worth, and you help them have a heart of service. So out of that, we've been around for 20 years. We've had over 400 people to go through possibilities who kind of have bought into that model, and so it's a combination of doing community projects, working together with different people, and then also individual coaching, mentorship, just developing relationships with people that we work with. One of my goals here at Possibilities is that the community will eventually run this organization themselves, and so it will not be a staff-driven organization, but actually something from the community, and the community decides how do we strengthen people's ability to sit down and talk and have conversation, and just like how do you, like I really like it on my board. I was talking to a guy last night, and he goes, well, I'm Republican, and I have some people that are on my board that are Republican, and then some are Democrat, and I want that mixture together, because I think it's important that we be able to have conversation about that. I think it's important that we be able to have conversation about me being black and you being white, or somebody being Hispanic, but to do that in a way, remember our values, where we can do that by building trust, treating you with dignity, and having a heart of service, versus having a debate with you to try and change you to think to my way of thinking. And so that's our staff. We have 5 people on staff, and they've been here, most of them have been here a long time, and it's just very satisfying work. One day, I mean, you're on the northeast side of Oklahoma City, and the next you're on the south side, and then you're in a bank someplace, and so you just never know where you're going to find people who are open to having their ability to strengthen their relationship. I actually this past weekend I was in Colorado, and I actually spent a weekend with the family who they've grown up to, very wealthy family, and I think they never let me see their checking. But they did put me up at the Broadmoor, so I thought they have at least a few dollars. Anyway, so they just sit together and for the weekend, and there's 8 of them, and they just have had these problems and hurts and traumas since they were kids, and resentments. And we just sit in this room and just hammered out, working through the stuff that they've had trouble with as a family for years. So somebody was mad because this happened, blah, 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 blah. And so I just thought, what courage it is for a family to sit there and to just look at their crap and to say, let's deal with this. Let's talk about this. And then we all went out, at the end of the evening, and they had drinks and food, and we just had a really good time. So that is, once again, strengthening the ability of people to work together and to be together, and so that's what our organization is about.
Yeah. For those that don't understand the inner workings or what it looks like on the ground, I've been privileged to attend some of the meetings and some of the dinner events that you all lead and host. They're a lot of fun. So people that are listening in, we'll give you a way to connect with Byron and with his organization at the end of the show. I definitely suggest checking them out. There's a lot of activity coming through your organization, and there's some real difference making going on that I've seen firsthand. What are some of the success stories that you can give us some insight into from local community members?
Um, Really, I think, I mean, in ways that they're all success stories, and it changes. Like I had one person when she came to us, good heart, but I mean, she was so shy. I could not get her to like look at. You couldn't get her to look at you, and she would never say anything in a group. And within like about a couple of years, she actually spoke at our luncheon in front of 300 and some people. And so that transformation was just magic to me. And just watching her do that. And remember, her goal wasn't to come in and learn to speak. Her goal was to come in and be of service to her community and help her community. And another person, she went through our program, and she ended up starting her own nonprofit agency, which is on the Northeast Community Center, where she feeds homeless. And that was something that she just started. So the goal was just for us to improve her ability to work with people. And then she left and started her own thing. And then another guy, he went through a year ago, and he felt that he wanted to go help the homeless directly. So every Sunday after church, he goes out and he makes about 50 sandwiches and get a bottle of water, and he drives to Norman and opens his trunk and just gives sandwiches to the homeless, and they expect him every. And so there's no program set up with that, and I mean, it's just something that he wanted to do to be of service. And so I could just spend our entire time talking about things that people have done and the impact that they've made. But to me, the dynamic is their ability to change inwardly themselves, and we're not always easy on them.
No, I could believe that. And this is is it a 9-month program, or is it a year-long program?
It was a year-long program. We have cut it down to 6. We're not even counting the months. You go through modules, and so that is changing. And then we have another level we added to that, which is called our leadership level. And so we're actually using people who have been through the program to become teachers and mentors and facilitators for new people coming in. And so that is our goal, is to actually use the people from the community to teach others. And so all of that is like changing and happening right now. And so our program looks very different than it did a year ago. There's a lot of balls bouncing in the air.
Yeah.
But we're very, very excited. We met with the leadership team today, and they're just now getting ready to, they're just now getting what we're calling them to do. And so they're fired up. And so my crazy dream was that I knew that we had to be impactful in a way. It's kind of like we have this little magic on this island of possibilities, but the rest of the world doesn't know about us. And so when I took over as director, I said, we have to get the magic on this island to the mainland, because there's so much division, there's so much hatred, there's so much anger, there's so much fear, there's so much isolation. And we have like answers to all of those things, but we're over here on this little island by ourselves. And so I was laying in bed one night, and I had a weekend. We had just come off vacation, and bus came in my head, like a bus. And I go, what? So then I sit up and I wrote. And so what I thought is that we could take a bus of people from our island. It could be investors, it could be community people, and we would take it to different places, different parts of the city, and we would like pull out our speakers, pull out food, and we have people have conversation in those places. So we call it our magic bus connection, our connection magic bus. And so so our first one will be October 19th, and it'll be in North Highland. And so the thing that's interesting, if you've ever been to block parties and stuff, what I started noticing is that you could have like the police department out, the fire department, and all these activities and booths, and really people never really talk to each other. And so I go, our thing that we're making different is the whole goal is to have a conversation. So what we'll do is we get there, we pull out our speakers and stuff, and we create a huge circle. So the entire place has to sit in a circle. And we'll have our leader two people do little get to know you exercises with small groups of 10 people. And so then once they do that, we'll open the circle again, and then we'll use a Native American talking stick, and we will go to people in that community and say, just share with us about what is it like being here. Tell whatever's on your heart. And our job is coming in with our bus is to listen to people in our sacred circle about their community. And so that is the direction our organization is moving in.
I love that. One of the things that drew me, Byron, to Possibilities Inc. a few years ago when I moved back to Oklahoma City, this was post sobriety, and I was working in some nonprofit and doing a lot of service work, and I had a lot of life wrong, and I started to realize it, and so I was looking for meaning and purpose and things that I help others with now. And I saw a statement about Possibilities Inc. that everyone can achieve their purpose.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm in. I got
Yeah.
to find out more about these people. And I'm so glad that I have. As I listen to, I'm kind of spellbound by the vision. I've been along on the bus with you here for the past few minutes for this ride. And as I'm seeing people pour out of this bus in a community that's ready to have a party and a conversation.
Yeah.
That is a missing piece, even the best parties.
Yeah.
Having a real conversation about who you are with some of the layers stripped down, with some of the fanfare and some of the, look at how important I am, or look at how outcast I am.
Yeah.
Rather than all of that being in the air, it's rather, let's sit in a circle, and which is, we're all equal in this space.
Yeah. You get it, you get it, and now, because this was just a concept, and so now though, having the people that are going to do that start getting it is mind-blowing, because they're going, holy cow. And if this is, for me, remember the risk-taking? I said, taking risk. If we were playing poker, this would be like me pushing all the chips in and saying, let's go for it. And because I'm putting our whole organization and saying, let's put all that other stuff on hold. Let's go this direction. Let's try this bus. We don't have a bus, but let's try the bus anyway. And so it's very, very exciting. And
I imagine there's some people that are following along on social media. They're going to want to, hopefully now, if they hear this. If you're an organization that's out there listening to this conversation, again, I'm going to invite you to connect with Byron and Possibilities Inc. These are the kind of movements that I'm so interested in, where there's that, you mentioned these three values of trust, dignity, and service. Some of the values in my work with other people: authenticity, integrity, courage, compassion. And I'm hearing there's a lot of overlap here.
Yeah.
When people can come together and say what's really true for them, when they can really get into the truth of who they are and what it's about, even when that's, maybe hard for someone else to hear.
Yeah.
If that's done in a certain way, like you all are doing it, there is such diversity in every meeting that I've been to with Possibilities. There are people there that I'm like, we probably wouldn't rub shoulders otherwise. But here we are, and I'm so glad that we did. You know, I haven't been comfortable at all the meetings. You're not supposed to be.
No.
But you all help us to be comfortable in those spaces. And what you all are experts at is, along with providing the training and the expertise to know how to have those conversations, which you provide all that to folks that come into your programs, you also provide fun. And so when you walk in the room with Byron, you're going to know where he's at pretty quick. Because he's going to probably be dancing or coming up to you and asking you to dance. And if neither one of those is going on, you're going to see his outfit from about a mile away. So
I'm trying not to laugh because I go off the laugh meter here.
I know it, and I'm trying not to talk at the same time because we'll talk over each other, and I'll have to edit that later. So this is pretty low key, starter level stuff, amateur time. So what I wanted to get to though, Byron, was what gave you we talked a little bit about it, but what was it, when you woke up and said, oh yeah, Bus, I'm going to do that? What was it that allowed you or empowered you or, gave you the courage to be able to say yes to going all in with this?
I have always been such a people pleaser and trying to do what other people felt I needed to do and what was important. And I just have wanted people to like me so much that I really feel like it has been this life of sacrificing my own integrity. And as I've gotten older, I have decided I'm not doing that anymore. And so it's kind of, once I open that door and go, it's kind of like having a great idea. Like somebody will say, well, let's make flip-flops. And so I go, God, maybe we can have a better flip-flop. But it's your idea to have the flip-flops, but I just try and cash in on your idea. And I never really sit down and go, okay, what is important to me? And so really it wasn't even about having an idea. It was about going, this direction isn't working. People aren't hearing what we're saying. What do we have to do? And being willing to go all the way to do that. And that is what there's where the ideas don't come because of ideas, they come because there's a need and to follow that need. And for me, it's having the courage to go, like having to sit with the staff the first time and go, we're not going to do the 9-month program. We're going to do something different. Mm-hmm. What are we going to do? A bus?
Say what?
Yes. And so, but having such a conviction with that they go, we like this idea. So how's our time?
We're doing good. We got another 10 minutes if you want it.
Okay, so when I took over, this has been, when we took over, I just looked at our finances probably, when did I take over? In April. And so, we were dying, and we have probably lost about $37,000 per month for the last 5 years. 5 years ago, we had a 3-month reserve, and at the beginning of July, I had $1,000 in the bank with nowhere to make payroll. And so I went, and so what I have learned in recovery is when I have problems to actually ask for help. And our philosophy was the complete opposite as an organization. Mm. It was that whole, if people know that you're suffering, they won't want to help because they don't want to help a sinking boat kind of deal. Mm-hmm. So I said, screw that stuff. And so I went, went with our founder, and we went to talk to somebody about to a foundation, and kind of told them our problem. And his words were, "I think you should just close the door." And he says, if your board's not willing to put up this much money, you should close the door. And so I just started sharing my vision and pushing people that you're either with us or you're not. And so I did lose some board members, but then I had some others that stepped up. And so the board has, so we went from that $1,000, we needed to make, from that time till December, we needed to make at least $85,000. And so since then, this is in a 2-month period, this is miraculous. Since then, we have raised 86,000, and we're short we raised our goal to 100,000 to make it to our fundraising luncheon in December. And that's been in a 2-month period. It's just, so we went from, I actually went in and had a conversation with the staff and go, we're either going to have to shut the door or I'm going to have to cut salaries. And so we went into a board meeting thinking, at the very least, that salaries would be cut. So that didn't happen. So, there were like people crying in staff meetings, people crying in board meeting. And so it went to that, to last night we had board meeting. And so, we're breaking and bringing in new board members, and I've added 8 new board members, and people that have a lot of influence and that are very committed to the organization. And I kept asking, in my prayer life, I kept going, is it time for us to close? And each time it came back with this resounding no. But I think it was very good for us, for an organization, just because that transformation from July to today was miraculous. If you walked in here 2 months ago, in the middle of July, was that 2 months or 3? That was however long. You would not have thought that we were going to make it. And we actually had one funder, we asked them for some money, and they said, well, we'll give you a little bit, but in case you go out of business, we don't want to give you too much there. So, but that's how dire that we looked. And so,
right.
So anyway, that has been a very, very miraculous, exciting process.
Absolutely. And I had no idea about that until right now. I didn't know that all this was going on. So it's really exciting for me to hear it. I get to celebrate in this space right now with you. to know that. That's a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
That's a big deal. That's a success story. And so what it's saying, how I'm interpreting or how I'm hearing that is that, there's so much value to this program, and people are looking. They're looking for more meaning. They're looking for better conversations. They're looking for purpose. They're looking for ways that they can have an impact that affect real people right there in their lives, in their community. And that's what Possibilities Inc. is doing. And you're in a position now where you can do these new things. You've got some operating revenue. And you've got some new folks, that are on the team. They're swinging for the rafters with you.
Yeah.
They're putting their chips in.
That's who I got I got rafter swingers on the board.
Yeah.
And we took away the safety nets.
Yeah, right. I'm all about that too. So that's why it's so exciting to me too. It kind of takes one to know one.
Yeah.
and to see you doing it and you're winning, with your organization, to see this being successful is something really worth celebrating, to get excited about. And people want to get behind something that's working.
Yeah.
And it's working. So for our listeners that are hearing this, what else are you looking for in your organization? what are some of the needs or desires that you have that maybe somebody listening might say, you know what, I could get in on that. I could help with this.
I pay attention to the bus tours. I mean, we would enjoy for people to come, and because it will be a great way for them to learn about and to experience what we're doing. And it's like on a Saturday morning, like the first one's October 19th from 10 to noon. So it's just 2 hours. And it's in the daytime. We made it very safe to go into that space. And so that's one way. The other is, you know, we just are trying to figure ways to engage you. You can sign up for our program. Look at our webpage at ways that you can enter and become one of our innovators, is what we call them. And so I have no idea. Other people, if you have a bus, I am needing the bus because I got to get the bus. We have a few leads, but it's cracking me up. I've set up these bus tours and I have no bus. It's the ultimate walk of faith. We're going on a bus ride, but by the way, I have no bus.
And they're all in.
And they're all in.
So you heard it here. Well, get specific then. So what kind of bus are you looking for? If this reaches our folks in time and you don't have one yet, what kind of bus are you hoping for?
Just one we could put about 30 people on and that runs, and a driver. By the way, I need a driver too, so don't just send the bus over. Send a driver with it, and we'll drive probably maybe 4 miles from our office and be there for 2 hours and come back and drop them off. And just
that's just an event waiting to happen. And so for any of our listeners, we're going to give you that contact information here in just a minute, how to reach out to Byron and Possibilities Inc. I follow along on Facebook, and yeah, you're on Instagram also.
yes.
Possibilities is. So yeah, on that, how can folks get in touch with you and Possibilities Inc. and how can they start to get involved?
Okay, now there's just so much talent that I have, and then it's like dead space after that. So if you're going to contact either Kelly Johnson and the call office at 405-525-3131, or to talk to Regina Randall, because they really they will actually keep your name and make sure that you call back. My genius only goes so far, and then I'm like done. I actually, if we go out the door, there's 5 people that kind of guide me around and say, here, go here, call this person, thank you. And so
that must be nice, I'm telling you. Are you hiring? I need somebody to do that for me.
I tell you, I want to, I keep saying I want to write a book called The Genius of Incompetence, because the bigger idiot people feel like you are, the more they need to help you.
Uh-huh.
So I have a lot of help here.
Okay. So you may eventually talk to Byron, but first you need to talk to these other folks. No, but you can find them. So search in Google Possibilities Inc., INC period, Oklahoma City. You can find them there.
And call me on my cell phone. My number is 405-417-8812. And I'm really old school. I really like talking on the phone, and I return all calls actually. So
he does. He's a great person. If you don't know Byron Jackson, please do get to know him. He's one of the nicest people that I know. He really is a bridge builder. And he's using all of his strengths and all of his passions, and he's going for broke right now. So you're going to get to be around somebody who's...
And we are broke.
Again, takes one to know one. So, but he's running on passion, filled with purpose. So, Byron, thanks again for being with me on the show, and I appreciate your patience with the technical challenges that we
Charles, thank you for your friendship, and it's just thank you.
Absolutely. You've been listening to the Live Your Purpose podcast. I hope you've been inspired by my conversation with today's guest. If you like what you hear, please share with your social networks and subscribe so that you never miss an episode. I'm your host, Charles Gossett, life purpose coach and founder of Full Integration Coaching. To learn more about the life coaching, public speaking, and retreat services that I offer, visit fullintegrationcoaching.com. And you can follow along with me on Facebook and Instagram at Full Integration Coaching. Until next time, remember, you were meant to live on purpose. Start living yours today.